So I think more about the structure is on the next couple of slides. So
yeah, we kind of got into those.
Yeah, it's hard to break up all this stuff. So yeah, so point number 11 here, to kind of piggyback on that previous point, is that the party is democratically structured with bylaws that can be changed by you. And I think this is an important point to mention, that we had said a few slides ago that, the Democratic Party is a memberless party. If you say that I'm a member of the Democratic Party, what does that actually mean? That it doesn't actually mean anything. The Democratic Party doesn't take you seriously. It doesn't give you any power. They just want you to turn out and vote for their candidates, and solidify the status quo. That's really all they expect from you. They don't really want to empower your community. They don't really want to empower change. They certainly don't want to move to a socialist system. They want to maintain power within the current capitalist paradigm. So what I think is important here is that the Green Party, as a grassroots Democratic Party, a small d Democrat, right? Like empowering, again, from the bottom up, individuals and communities in our decision-making process. What's important here is that when you become a member of the Green Party, it means that you're actually a member. You actually have influence on all of the party's decision-making processes, from your local party to your state party up to the national party. You can talk to your delegates to the national party, and you can ask them to vote on certain things. You can run and become a delegate yourself, and you can go vote and do these things. I mean, that's
but you can.
You can. That's a whole separate discussion. But just saying, I'm a National Steering Committee member, and I got there because I joined my local Green Party, however many years ago that was, 6, 7, whatever years ago, 8 years, something like that. I joined my local party. I got involved in my local party, and I got involved in my state party. And then when I learned more about the state party, I learned more about the national party, became a delegate in the national party. And then some people said, hey, you would be really great to be on the steering committee. And I agreed to that. And that's a whole, that's a whole separate thing. Chris doesn't totally approve of that.
Chris said, don't do it.
It's an interesting experience. And
I think Garrett's come around to my side.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience. And I think the one thing I'll say here about it, because I think it's a little bit off topic, is that unfortunately, just by the nature of like Chris was saying, continental scale doing things, once you start getting involved in national things, you get kind of disconnected from your local struggles and your local organizing. And it's very important to keep your focus on local organizing when doing all this stuff. So, finding the right balance to do the decentralization all in order to keep that focus is an important and evolving task for the Green Party, that we have not always historically done this very well. And hopefully we're evolving and doing it better. But I think the key point to all this is that the bylaws and all can be changed by you, that when you become a member, you can directly influence all the decisions. That means you get a say. You can talk to your delegates and be a delegate yourself and all these things to influence what goes into our party platform, to influence the rules that our bylaws set up for, like how we, for example, nominate presidential candidates or something. If you don't like something about the party, you can change it, because that's what democracy means. And that's a very cool thing when it really sinks in that you have that ability, because through the Democrats, or the Republicans for that matter, we're so used to not having a say and just kind of accepting whatever they ram down our throats. And when you join the Green Party, you that starts to sink in, where you're like, well, if I don't like this thing, I actually can change that. I can suggest the change. I can run for a delegate and say, as a delegate, I'm going to try to make this change happen, or whatever, right? Like, you can do these things. You actually are a member and treated as a member, as opposed to what happens in the Democratic Party.
And if you get engaged and you say, wow, this party's dead, which happens, right? They're not, right? There are areas, we call them paper parties. Right? There are definitely, states where they really only exist on paper and there's not much organization. But if you're from a state that has that, as your conditions, you can change that, right? Mm-hmm. If you show up with 20 people to a membership meeting of a paper party, you're now in control of the party, right? Because it's a small number of people that aren't actually organizing, right? Similarly, if you're involved and you're not happy with the direction of your local party or of your state party, you can start doing work on the things that you think are important. You can gather people behind, and you can tell the party, get on board or get left behind, right? And so if you come in as a Democrat in your local community, you want to change things, they might have some meetings, but who actually runs the party is behind closed doors and inside baseball. I live in a state capital, and I want to say it's been almost a decade since our Republican Party has had a public office for the Illinois Republican Party. I can take you to the Illinois Republican Party office. It's probably less than a mile from my house, but it's not open to the public, right? It's a closed door place. And when it does open, it's for fundraisers and one directional things where they tell you, the membership, the voters of the Republican Democratic parties really have no power, to direct the actual operations of the party. In the Green Party, it's the opposite. We are powered by our members, and if there are, if we're not doing enough, it's usually because of a lack of resources, right? A lack of people engaging and picking up work that needs to be done to grow. So, when you say, there's nothing here, find out the Greens that are. I have seen local Green parties turn around because one energized person kind of lit a spark under everybody who was feeling dejected, right? That little bit of new energy was all they needed to get going. And I've seen, I'd say, I don't know, 6 years ago, maybe, probably right around when Garrett was getting involved, right, in the Allegheny Green Party. I'd never heard of the Allegheny Green Party. I don't know how active they were. Like there was. Right now, I would say the Allegheny Green Party is the best Green Party local in the country, right? And that happened because people got involved and started building. It didn't happen because the Green Party decided that Pittsburgh was where we were really going to make our mark, and we invested in Pittsburgh. No, it happened bottom up, and it happened because people got involved. You'll see it in December when we do our organizing 101, or if you look at some of our past organizing workshops, which are all on our 101s page, all the past ones, you'll see one of the things we say is you can organize in your community, right? And you don't need permission to do it. And that's very much kind of a mantra of local Green parties is you can organize. So, if you're not happy with your Green Party, start causing trouble, right? Start organizing. not like real trouble, but like good trouble. Right. Start lighting a fire under people. Start saying, well, you're the leader and we're not doing anything. What's your leadership gotten us? Right. Run for co-chair, change the direction. Yeah.
As a kind of funny story that part of the reason I got involved in the Allegheny Green parties, which Allegheny County is where Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania. Our Allegheny County Green Party had meetings and was advertising meetings. And I decided in 2016, even before Bernie lost the primary, like when he started to run, I saw the writing on the wall, and I was like, I know that the Democratic Party is going to screw him somehow. And I said, I just need to get involved in the Green Party now. I've been putting it off for too long. I'm just going to get involved. So I went to a local meeting, and my first meeting there, it turned out the person who had run the website before had moved out of state or something. I forget exactly what happened, but they didn't have a website anymore. And I said, I'll help with the website. And so they paired me up with a few other people, and I helped put together a new website for the party. I got to know people. And before I knew it, I was involved in actions.
State House. And...
I was involved in actions and became a local party executive, and then got involved in the state party and all that stuff. So, it all starts with your local party to go there and to find out what they need, or to go there and talk to them about ideas that you have, see what you can organize together. If there is no local near you, you can reach out to your state party or the national party to try to get information about other Greens who might be around you, and maybe you can form a new local party. So those are all options, which I think I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because I think that's the next slide. But
in our last organizing 101 that we did last month, I just put a link in the chat, but it was specifically about how to organize a local Green Party where one doesn't exist. And the one we're planning to do in December is going to be how to revitalize your Green Party. So if you're one of those people who comes in and you're like, these guys just sit around a room and have a meeting and don't do anything, it's how to get them revitalized, how to get them organizing. So like we said, these are a recurring series, and in the last one we did and the next one we do, we're explicitly looking at how to start or reboot a local chapter, because that it really is the core building block of the Green Party.
Mm-hmm.